Charlie didn't really get it, but he joined in the protest with the older folks. While chanting slogans, he asked one of the older guys next to him what was happening, and finally got the story. It turned out that this Harley insurance company had been offering policies with crazy high returns, and these seniors were lured in by the promise of big payouts. They all bought a bunch of policies from the company. It was supposed to be the day they collected their dividends. But when they showed up to get their money, they found the company's doors locked. A couple of employees were there, just feeding everyone flimsy excuses. This group of seniors realized they'd been scammed. No wonder his mother-in-law had called him in such a panic and made him come join her. Thinking about it, Charlie's stomach dropped. He couldn't help but ask his mother-in-law, "Mom, how much did you invest in this?" Elaine said nervously. "They told me I'd get huge dividends. I got carried away and put all our savings into their policies." Charlie was floored. "What? All our savings went into this?" Hearing that, Elaine immediately snapped at him. "Do you have to have a big mouth? Don't you think I'm embarrassed enough? Why are you shouting?" She kept on nagging. "If you'd ever brought in any real money, I wouldn't have had to risk it on this company. With a useless son-in-law like you around, what other choice did I have to make our money grow? This guy, it's one thing that he doesn't support the family, but now he's judging her as if he could have done better with that money." Then she said to Charlie, "I'm telling you, you stay here and keep chanting. Don't you dare stop for a second." Charlie could only nod and say, "Okay, Mom." Just then, a few of the other women came over. They looked Charlie up and down, then asked Elaine, "Elaine, is this your son-in-law?" As they talked, they gave his clothes another once-over, shook their heads, and chuckled. "Why does he look so shabby? He doesn't look like much of a son-in-law. Yeah, those clothes have seen better days. He can't compare to someone from Lady Wilson's family. Some people are just so good at putting others down," and every word was dripping with contempt. Charlie didn't care. They were all older women with one foot in the grave, and now they'd lost their life savings. He didn't see any point in arguing with them. Elaine was fuming, and the sight of Charlie just made her even angrier. She snapped, "Look at him. I'm going to make my daughter divorce him in a few days. She can do so much better with a new husband." Charlie scoffed to himself. Even if you gathered all the rich kids in Orris Hill, they couldn't hold a candle to him. Elaine was getting desperate. Charlie was useless. The most he could do was shout slogans for her. To get her investment back, she needed someone with real power to step in and fix this. It was a shame the family of Wendell Jones, who'd been after her daughter, had gone bankrupt. Otherwise, she could have asked them for help. That's it. Elaine suddenly remembered Gerald's brother, Fred White, the one she'd met at the family banquet yesterday. He was her best hope. From the way he was looking at her daughter, she figured he had a thing for Claire. The White family might not be as powerful as the Jones family used to be, but they were still a big deal. If she called him, he might be able to do something. As luck would have it, Fred White had given her his business card yesterday. She pulled out her phone and dialed his number. The call connected almost immediately. Elaine said, "Hey, is this Fred? This is Claire's mother." Ever since Fred saw Claire at the banquet, he'd been completely captivated. He couldn't get her out of his head. He was worried he'd never get a chance to get close to her, and then, out of the blue, her mother called him. He figured Elaine was in some kind of trouble, and he wasn't about to pass up an opportunity to look good. So he quickly put on a polite tone. "Elaine, is everything okay?" "Well, there is something I need your help with," Elaine said, getting straight to the point. "Fred, a few of my friends and I bought some investment products from an insurance company called Harley, and we put all our savings into it. But now the company won't let us withdraw our money. Can you figure out a way to help me get it back?" Fred was ecstatic when he heard this. He saw this as his moment to shine and said confidently, "Don't you worry. I'm on my way over right now. I'll definitely help you solve this." Elaine was thrilled. "Thank you so much," she said, her voice full of relief. After hanging up, she shot a glare at Charlie and said angrily, "Some people have no skills whatsoever. You just can't count on them. Besides shouting a few slogans, what good are they? Completely useless. Charlie just smirked. His mother-in-law was so materialistic and clueless. Calling Fred for help? This company had scammed people out of at least tens of millions. Anyone who dared to pull off a scam that big must have some serious connections, maybe even with the criminal underworld. How could Fred White possibly make them give the money back? The White family's power was pretty average, and after the Emgren Group cut ties with them, they were even weaker. With their influence, it was basically impossible for them to intervene in such a massive financial fraud case. Honestly, this little problem could be solved with a single phone call to Isaac Craven from Aurelius Grand. After all, he was the Wade family's representative in Oris Hill. Any entrepreneur or major figure in the city, legitimate or not, had to show him respect. But his mother-in-law was just so frustrating. Since she believed in Fred, he'd let Fred try to help her. He was curious to see what he could actually do. When the other seniors saw Elaine on the phone, they immediately smiled and crowded around her, asking if she'd found someone important to help them. Elaine proudly announced to the group, "Don't worry, I asked the eldest son of the White family to come and help. He'll make a few calls, and hopefully we'll get our hard-earned money back." Someone exclaimed, "The eldest son of the White family? Wow, Elaine, you're amazing. You actually know someone that important." "Yeah, a guy like Fred White must have a ton of connections. Solving our problem should be a piece of cake for him, right? Just a matter of a few words. Elaine, since you have such good contacts, why did you marry your daughter off to a loser like that instead of someone like him?" Elaine shot Charlie a look of disgust and scoffed. "This bum will be kicked out of the Wilson family sooner or later." Charlie didn't say a word. He was just going to wait and watch Fred White show up and completely fail. Soon enough, a black luxury car pulled up slowly in front of everyone. A young man in a sharp suit and leather shoes looking like a real success story stepped out of the car. It was Fred White. The seniors around them started murmuring in admiration. Wow, look at that. Now that's a real catch. What a great potential son-in-law. I wonder what lucky girl will get to be his wife someday." "Yeah. If my daughter could marry him, I'd die a happy woman. Get real. In your dreams. He wouldn't even look at your girl." Just then, Elaine spotted Fred and rushed over to him, saying desperately, "Oh, Fred, you're here. I was about to lose my mind." Fred smiled and said, "Elaine, I'm sorry to keep you waiting." Elaine quickly replied, "Oh, Fred, you're too polite. I barely waited 10 minutes. You got here so fast." Fred smiled. "I heard you were in trouble, so I hurried over. I ran a few red lights on the way." Elaine looked proud, but she asked with a show of concern, "Isn't it a problem to run so many red lights?" "Not at all," Fred White said casually. "The traffic cops in the city are all friends of mine. One phone call can make any ticket disappear." After boasting, he changed the subject. "Now, let's talk about you. How much money did you get cheated out of?" Elaine sighed. "It was over $1 million in total. We were supposed to get $200,000 in dividends this month, but now we can't even get our original investment back." Fred nodded and announced loudly, "Don't worry, I'll handle this. Now that I'm on the case, I'll definitely get your money back for you." Just then, he noticed Charlie standing behind Elaine, and his expression shifted. He hadn't expected to see that worthless eyesore Charlie here. Ever since he first saw Claire, Fred White had been smitten, and after his younger brother Gerald mentioned that Claire was probably still single, his interest grew even stronger. So, seeing Claire's loser of a husband, he couldn't help but sneer. He put on a deliberate smile and said, "Oh, look who it is. Charlie's here. Do you have a way to help Elaine get her investment back? Or do you want to give it a try first? You won't turn around and blame me for stealing your spotlight, will you?" Elaine jumped in. "Him? Try? That's a joke. What can he do to help? All he's good for is opening his mouth to shout a few slogans. Fred, just ignore him." Fred nodded and said sarcastically, "Well, since Charlie here doesn't have what it takes, I guess I'll give it a shot." Charlie just smiled slightly. "Go on, Fred. You can do it." Fred laughed with contempt. At that moment, the crowd of seniors swarmed Elaine, all talking at once. "Elaine, can you ask this handsome young man to help us too? We were all cheated out of our hard-earned money. Elaine said arrogantly, "Oh, I can't ask him to do that for all of you. Fred is doing me a personal favor and he doesn't even know you." The others started begging Fred directly. "Mr. White, you seem so capable. Please help us too." Fred was about to brush them off, but then he noticed how materialistic and greedy Elaine was. He smiled and said, "All right, since you're all friends of Elaine's, I suppose I can do you a favor." When everyone cheered, Fred looked at them with a smug expression and said, "There's just one condition. I'm only doing this for Elaine. So, you'll have to pay her a 10% commission on whatever money I get back for you. Is that acceptable?" "No problem," one of the seniors said immediately. "Getting 90% back is way better than getting nothing at all." As soon as Elaine heard this, her face lit up with glee. The total amount scammed from the group was in the tens of millions. If Fred White could actually get it all back, wouldn't she make millions herself?